105 North Avenue 52.
Prepare to be fucked by the long dick of the law.
This isn't happening. Everyone look away, please. Nothing to see here.
You can't break those cuffs.
Take him away, Ty.
Welcome to Thought Cops, the only podcast where every week we police the mean streets of the internet because, hey, somebody's got to do it. And then we let you be the judge, the jury, and the executioner in the court of public opinion. Coming to you live from Neo Chicago, I'm Officer Kevin.
And I'm Officer Grant.
How the hell are you, Grant?
Good. It really is good to be back doing this. I feel like when I'm not partaking in this podcast on a weekly basis that I am a man with no identity. I just sort of, drag myself from place to place as an unconscious being, and then I call myself Officer Grant, and it's like I'm back online.
Yeah, this is our first recording as of 2021. I know I said things would get better. They've actually gotten quite...
Fucking idiot.
Yeah, bad take. Sorry, everybody.
This is personally only your fault.
It is. I want to do the right thing. I want to come forward. I want to claim responsibility for this and say, I'm sorry, I'll do better next year.
All right.
We're recording remotely again this week, just playing it safe. Because I was traveling for the holidays. We figured, you know what, this year's been going a little crazy already. Let's not get sick. So this week, we're doing what we did at the beginning of quarantine. We're recording remotely. But you know what? We're back, and perhaps better than ever. We'll find out. Hey, we'll see. Don't write us off yet. Let's give a quick thank you to our guest from last time, Jade Benoit. Thank you, Jade.
Canadian comedian.
And let's give a warm welcome to a brand new guest to the program. That's right, I'm talking about Tristan A. Smith. How the hell are you, Tristan?
Thank you. I'm doing okay. I guess if you guys are the Thought Cops, am I just like the actor in the ride-along? Is that how this works?
It's something like that. Yeah. There is a whole lore to this that is loosely based off Carmen Sandiego that isn't entirely fleshed out, but there are titles and positions and a lot of paperwork to be filed out. So we'll figure that out off mic. But Tristan, you're a very funny Chicago comedian. As I've asked a lot of the other comedians we know, during the quarantine, how have you been staying sane and how have you been staying busy?
I try to embezzle from work wherever I can. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, I suppose I have not been doing a ton of comedy. I think that's been decently good for me. I instead have been working on exercise. I try to walk about 5-6 miles a day.
Very nice.
Yeah, and I got to 1,000 miles in the year.
Awesome.
Which is, if you knew me and sort of my feelings on fitness, that's remarkable considering what I was doing before this. So I'm pretty happy with myself.
You're a natural Vanessa Carlton.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But yeah, that's I feel like that's a common trend amongst a lot of people who are like, I stopped doing comedy so much and I turned my life around.
Yeah, precisely. It turns out comedy wasn't the thing holding me back. There's probably a lot of stuff, but at least it's one barrier down.
Yeah, I hear you. It's just like, it's time consuming and it's I do miss the stand-up scene. We've been kind of doubling down on this however best we can as we're staying sane during quarantine. But has there been anything else you're working on in the meantime? Anything you're looking forward to? Anything you miss in particular?
I I've done, I don't know if there's much forward to. I'm buying an exercise bike again. I can't imagine this is a thing anybody like is on pins and needles about with me. I don't know. I hope to steal everything I own, steal everything I own in the future. Yeah, that's my goal.
That's a move, I hear.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't confess that to two cops. So I've already made a pretty big mistake.
We're the good guys, says every cop. But,
yeah, we're only interested if you say like doggo on Twitter, and we're like, we're interested in cringe content basically, and otherwise we don't really care.
Right.
Perfect.
Well, I know we've been interacting somewhat back and forth. We've probably crossed paths a couple times at like a couple open mics and stuff, but I know you've been pretty active on like Twitter and on the children's platform TikTok, as I have also been.
Correct.
So.
Yes. I honestly like that's really like I've gained an affection for Grant because of TikTok.
Oh, thank you.
Because legitimately, I don't know that I've ever like really formally been introduced to you. I don't know that I've ever shaken your hand or anything. So yeah, you've been the wild card in this whole, like when I've listened to episodes. And now I feel like I kind of know you, at least to a degree. Like you seem to be like at least moderately not racist. And,
thank you.
And reasonably funny based on your TikTok presence.
I appreciate it.
That's honestly, that is a compliment, even though it didn't sound right.
I'll take what I can get.
Yeah. So thank you for being human.
Hey, I'm doing my best here. We're all doing our best, but you got a couple videos and stuff that I think are also entertaining and stuff like that. Like we're following each other and whatnot. And
yeah, thank you. That's very nice of you to say.
Of course.
And Kevin, I don't have anything kind to say about you.
I'll take it. At this point in time, I'll take it.
Yeah. It's better than nothing, really.
That's true. Speaking of better than nothing, hey, follow us on Twitch. Twitch.tv/ThoughtCops. The typical regular schedule is Wednesdays and Sundays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Along with the podcast, we took a little break for a couple of weeks, but we will be back, and like I said, perhaps better than ever. We'll see. So yeah, give us a follow or, come hang out. It's pretty low-key, loose. It's a good time. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We're trying to put out a lot more YouTube content lately, a lot of podcast highlights. We got a lot of our other videos on the channel. All sorts of stuff. So yeah, just search for Thought Cops on YouTube and subscribe, because the more the merrier.
Yeah, just Google us and click all those links.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really all you need to do.
No virus guarantee. You heard it here first, folks.
That's a lofty claim.
Yeah, go ahead and turn off the ad block, turn off the malware protection, and click on everything that says Thought Cops, and you will be rewarded handsomely. Yeah,
and hit that what's it called, the I'm feeling lucky button. Just type in Thought Cops and then any other word after that, and click I'm feeling lucky. Just see where it takes you.
Speaking of feeling lucky, let's get to the very favorite, very famous segment of the show. That's right. I'm talking about 2 minutes of hate, as our dear friend IO Netrunner would say. 2 minutes of hate, where we like to blanket punish all that annoying shit. That's right. I'm not saying crap anymore. It's 2021. I'm saying shit now.
If anyone's earned it, I think you have.
Yeah, I've been doing this for long enough. I'm angry. That's right. I'm saying it. All this annoying shit that we see on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, if you're still doing that. TikTok, I guess I gotta say. My 2 minutes of hate this week is this trend I've actually seen more on YouTube, is the fake anti-piracy warnings on video games. I know I've been posting some of these in the Discord, and I've seen a few other people doing it as well. There was this very convincing... So basically, if you've ever tried to play a game that was pirated or downloaded illegally, once in a while, like a message will come on the screen, they'll recognize it's pirated software, it won't play on your hardware kind of thing. So there was a very convincing one and very creepy one from Mario Party DS, where somebody put this up, and it was like of course, like this is a game nobody ever talks about. It seemed very obscure and real, perhaps, where it was like this like video where the game would just completely glitch out and then show like all the characters behind bars, and it's like, turn off the game now. This is a stolen copy. Destroy the cartridge. And I was like, everybody in the comments, including myself, like fell for it. I'm like, oh, this is like an elaborate way to dissuade people from pirating software and, potentially traumatizing children who may or may not have an accidental copy of said pirated software.
Right.
So a lot of people were sharing the link around being like, yeah, this is really weird. And like, they went through the extra measure of having this like creepy thing get triggered in the game, kind of thing. And then more and more of these started to pop up on YouTube, where it was like a lot of, other games, like, it seemed more apparent that they were fake, and it was like a new meme or like an online trend, basically.
I think Starlit Alpha in our Discord posted one that was like of Super Mario World, which there was no anti-piracy shit for Super Mario World. And it was just like, you turn on the game and it's just an island that says no.
Exactly.
Just like
exactly.
the lowest effort shit.
And that's the kind of thing we're looking at here. And then, like I said, now it's a meme. Somebody posted one in the Discord again. It was like an American Dad anti-piracy DVD warning, where it was like somebody's posting like the American Dad DVD menu like looping over, and then it just like cuts to like, this is a pirated DVD. The police are now being called. Yada yada. And it's like, now I feel stupid for falling for it in the first place.
Yeah, it's dumb.
But I want to say the first one was, again, very convincing. And then once more and more started to pop up again, when they started to turn to things that were a little more ridiculous, it just became like a lazy, this is how to get popular online kind of thing.
The only people that should be making these are funny people. That's it.
Yeah,
Nobody
I agree. Yes. People who are not funny and making this kind of thing. And again, it was very convincing. My punishment to you is the next time you boot up your software to make one of these, an anti-piracy warning will come up on your no doubt jailbroken copy of Adobe Premiere, and I show up to your door and arrest you.
Trite.
Yes. But it works. Tristan, 2 minutes of hate, man. What's off? Get something off your chest. I know we've all been cooped up and on the internet way too much. And like we were talking about off mic earlier, every day there's something new. So lay it on us.
Alrighty. Yeah, sure. There's my 2 minutes of hate is twofold. So I guess generally I dislike anyone who I find less funny than me that's doing better than me online. So that's I always got time for that jealousy.
Yeah.
But then in addition to that, specifically, what I really dislike is that whenever I see like a post go viral, specifically on Twitter, there'll be like the viral statement that was made or whatever, and then under it there'll be a lot of these. The thread will continue with a bunch of different advertisements from that person of like the same couple of products. It'll be like plush animals or cool lights, I guess.
I know it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't know. That's remarkably annoying to me because it's the exact same products. And also it makes me wonder a couple of things. Like, did these companies reach out to this person as soon as the tweet became viral and then like, I guess, promise them money for promoting, their shitty products? Or did this person know that, that they would have a viral tweet, like they had it locked in the chamber, and then the second it sort of popped off, they're like, "Alrighty, let me fire off this thing about plush Pokemon figurines."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just weird. I just don't like it. Like, I don't like. I wish I had stronger word choice for that, but it's annoying to see.
Caillou in the chat brings up another one: green tea face masks.
Yes,
right.
Yes. Yeah, all products that I feel like no one actually is buying.
I think that because I've seen someone post about this, and I believe that a company, if you have a viral tweet, that certain companies will reach out to you. So I think the second thing that you said is correct, but I'm not 100% sure. I've never been blessed with one, so
same. The only
Grant, if they approached you for one of your TikToks to advertise, would you?
I don't know how that works on TikTok. On Twitter, it depends. It depends greatly. I also feel like I don't post things that are of like that anybody wants to like I don't post things that are like widely applicable to a mainstream audience. Like I think the last thing that I tweeted that went viral was my joke tweet about all the people that broke into the Capitol said in Minecraft before entering, so naturally law enforcement can't do anything about it. Right. They're not going to approach me over that tweet. Like it's not good. You know?
Yeah, I will say that was too idiosyncratic for me to even latch on to.
Yeah, it's for the terminally online folks and those who want to know more. So yeah, Tristan, if you could punish these folks who are selling out, basically.
Yeah, like ever since I've started listening to this podcast and like was imagining myself in these circumstances, I've always sort of wondered how I would punish. And the only thing that really comes to mind are medieval torture. Okay. I guess either they have a choice, either burned at the stake or raked over coals. I guess that's
a dealer's choice.
Yeah, at the very least. I mean, yeah, if you're gonna get a draconian punishment, you get like a little bit of leeway there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the humane thing to do.
Thank you.
Definitely humane. Yeah.
Speaking of keeping it humane, Grant, what do you got for us?
All right. I have found, as I'm sure many of us have, a lot of us have been tuned into the unraveling of a new conspiracy theory. And people hear you say conspiracy theory, they're like, what are you talking about? QAnon? What are you talking about? Obamagate? Vaccines causing autism? Is that what you're talking about? Are you talking about flat Earth? Are you talking about the conspiracy of Jeffrey Epstein killing himself or not? What are you talking about? Are you talking about Sandy Hook was a hoax? Is that what you're talking about? No. This is a real conspiracy. Okay, and not a lot of people I don't think are aware of it. But it's I must have seen some of these photos before. But this guy on Twitter at Saint_Porgy uncovered this vast conspiracy of Liam Neeson pissing himself in public. And I can't believe he's gotten away with this for so long. And I don't know whether or not to be. So I put a link in the Discord chat of this. If you go to the guy's username is Saint_Porgy. Jesus was a juggalo is his username. And you search Liam Neeson, there's 20 separate photos of Liam Neeson pissing himself in public. And it's like, I must have seen one or two of these before, and maybe I just forgot, but there's a lot. And I don't know whether or not to be disgusted or disturbed or feel bad for him. I don't know what's causing this, if he has some sort of like incontinence problem, or if he just has a really bad drinking problem, or if he's just
probably
it's certainly alcohol. There's no world. This is, as someone who used to work at a bar as a bouncer and a bartender, this is very much, you look at his face, it's alcohol.
I want to shout out somebody in the replies made a calendar of these. Liam Peeson 2021.
And it's like he's posing for these photos. Like people walk up to him and they look at him in his face and they're like, that's Liam Neeson. And then they look down and they're like, he's very clearly pissed himself. And then they take a photograph with him and he like poses for these photographs. And
I'd still shake the man's hand.
What if he wasn't drunk? What if he was just doing that voluntarily? Like if he just like, this is how I say hi to my fans.
That's alpha as fuck.
Or it's like performance art. He's just like, I'm going to carry around a water bottle with me. And anytime somebody, or it could be actual piss, but regardless, like anytime someone wants to take a photo with me, I'm going to do this. And I'm just going to see what happens. And you look at these people that are taking photographs with them and they're all smiling. They're all happy to see him. And it's just like, how has this been happening for so long?
Honestly, if it's intentional, I think he's now like a Gallagher style comedian, and maybe possibly the best alt comedian in the world.
And that seems like a lot of credit for something that seems like he's probably just wasted as fuck.
Right.
If
well, there was that one skit on one of Ricky Gervais's 400 TV shows that he's had, where if anybody remembers this, Ricky Gervais was like pitching Liam Neeson like a comedy movie or a comedy
probably the show Extras.
TV show. Yeah, like something like that. And they were trying to get him to tell jokes, and he was doing it with like, you know, very just deadpan, straight faced. And a lot of people said, "Oh, this is very funny because, of course, he's like a serious actor or whatever." But what if it is? What if this is just him fucking with us? Like, what am I supposed to think about this?
Yeah, I actually own that on DVD. That season of you're talking about. It's a show called Extras. About like Ricky Gervais being an extra and talking to big movie stars. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. That's it. Like I don't know. I don't know what to make of this.
Thank you for bringing this to my attention, though. I mean, no matter what, it's going to be a thing I talk about with everyone I know.
Yeah. I mean,
it's an icebreaker.
You can't not bring it up. And it's like, oh, God, I tweeted something about, like, the last time I watched Schindler's List, it, like, I watched it once in high school. And when you're in high school, you don't really have an appreciation of, you know, that type of stuff. And, like, since high school, I've been to Poland. I've visited Auschwitz. Like, It's horrifying. You really sort of wrap your brain around the fact that this happened on this planet that we all inhabit, and like how horrific it is. You watch Schindler's List, and you're like, this is like heart wrenching to fucking watch this movie, and just like existentially horrifying. And now I could never watch Schindler's List because I'd just be picturing the fact that Oscar Schindler keeps pee-peeing his pants, and I can't live in that world.
Yeah, you really got to suspend your disbelief and hope that he's not pissing his pants on the set.
Yeah, I guess so.
Honestly, I think if anything, if he's peeing himself on sets, he deserves probably awards. Like if you can still stay in character while peeing yourself, like I don't know if you guys have acted before, but that's a remarkably difficult thing to do. And if anything, I think it only shows how great of an actor he is if he can pee himself and still remain in the scene.
I can barely remember lines. Imagine delivering lines when you're midstream. Impossible.
Yeah, for your body to disrupt your performance and you still have the presence of mind to stay on track.
Incredible.
It's like Reggie Miller, going back for the 3-pointer. Like it's the presence of mind takes real mental strength to do that.
Right. Or like that that baseball pitcher that like threw a no-hitter on LSD.
Yeah.
Like that level of focus.
Yeah, Doc Ellis. Yeah, this is this is special. We're watching the peak of human conditioning in Liam Neeson.
Okay, Sleep Science in the chat keeps bringing this up. He keeps saying he thinks it's enuresis, which is a lack of bladder control and ability to feel yourself peeing that is exacerbated by alcohol.
A good question to know, though, is like how many of these pictures are before and after his wife's death? Because I feel like if he's drinking more after his wife's death, that kind of does add up.
Right.
I mean, not to make it remarkably sad, but I do at least have empathy. If it's like I get why you might want to drink a bit.
You're right.
The truth is out there.
I just figure the first time it happened that I would be aware of the problem and that I would probably buy a couple pairs of Depends. I mean, there's no shame in it when you're as old as he is. Like, just
maybe he likes the feeling of it. Maybe just wants to marinate.
Maybe he was cold.
Although the problem with that is you like, sure, peeing yourself warms you up for a bit, but then it gets cold again.
True. That is very
you might end up
true.
you end up worse off than when you started.
Yeah.
This is our PSA against peeing on yourself, even if times are dire.
Well, I guess that's a good enough punishment. Is that just go? I'm punishing Liam Neeson to buy some Depends.
Okay.
That's it. That's the worst punishment I think that we've levied against a person on this show thus far. But they're not all big hitters. They can't all be home runs. Sometimes you just you look at Liam Neeson and you see 20 photos of himself pissing himself, and you just go, I got to fix this. I got to rectify this. The world can't go on as it is with this happening.
You're an empath, Grant.
Yes.
Yeah, honestly, now this is as special to me as like, they reported at the CIA putting crack into inner city communities. Like this is as big of a deal. So thank you for
groundbreaking. Of course, anytime.
Yeah, you did. I mean, I guess since you didn't discover it, you don't get the Pulitzer. but
Right.
someone should get a Pulitzer because of this work.
I mean, certainly this platform is one of reporting, and we have reported on it now. So we deserve some sort of award that journalists win because, we're doing more work than they are, really.
Yeah, instead of Thought Cops, call it Thought Woodward and Bernstein.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of awards and award-winning content, if you haven't listened to Thought Cops before, every week we investigate the internet's outrage-inducing news stories, and then we sentence each perpetrator to a cruel and often quite unusual punishment. So breaking news, we don't usually like to talk about this, but we have to because it happened today. Donald Trump was banned from Twitter.
Yeah, this is the last 3 or 4 days have been like what we chose to talk about compared to what's happened the last 3 days and in some cases the last hour. Kind of staggering.
And then who knows what's going to happen between the time.
Coup. We could have talked about Bean Dad, but now
we'll get to Bean Dad. Don't worry.
Okay.
But I guess the slightly more pressing issue here is that the president has been banned from Twitter. This is obviously, this is our jurisdiction, being, like I said, terminally online.
We also
as the president was.
Sorry to interrupt. We also, I'm just remembering this, but in the early Thought Cops days, we did have a segment called Trump Tweets.
Yes, I actually thought about that. I thought about that earlier today, and I couldn't remember how it went, so I didn't bother thinking up a segment for it.
It doesn't matter. I think you just screamed. I'm pretty sure.
I want to say we stopped doing it for a reason.
I don't think it was funny.
Exactly. So hey, here we are.
There is sort of one significant distinction, though. Kevin said that that the president was banned from Twitter, and technically that's not true. Donald J. Trump is banned from Twitter, but the president of the United States account is still active on Twitter.
Right. Actually, an hour before recording, it got banned too because he
POTUS too. Damn it.
Yeah, he took to the POTUS account, and I'm not talking about my last name, everybody. I know we're all wondering. No, he took to the POTUS account. And he put up we're going to come back stronger than ever. And minutes later, they banned that account too. So
I hadn't caught up to that. Darn it. I thought I had. I thought I'd one-upped you, Kevin. I'm so sorry. I tried to take over your podcast. I tried to have a coup on the Thought Cops.
It's about time. So yeah, I think he maybe he still has the White House account. I have no idea. The guy's got 1 million alts.
Imagining just someone trying to attempt a coup for the Thought Cops podcast, and they're just climbing my stairs, and they get to the 3rd floor, and they're just like, "Fuck it, I'm not climbing any more stairs. Fuck these guys."
If anybody was gonna do a coup, I really was rooting for Ken Bone.
Oh boy, hey, man, if he was there, that'd be bad for us,
right?
But yeah, anyway, according to the Twitter safety account, they said after close review of recent tweets from the real Donald Trump account and the context around them, we have decided to permanently suspend the account due to the risk of further incitement of violence. Yes, it's been quite the crazy week here. I know we don't typically dabble into politics, but I feel like, politics aside, Trump is one of the most famous posters online. So he's gone. Maybe he went to Parler. I think I heard whatever that is.
Being brought down too right now. It's not available on the Google App Store.
Yeah, I think they took him off iTunes as well.
That's a lot of those apps. Parler, Gab, most of them are. Whatever. And
I think it's somebody in the Discord pointed out. Gab was the beacon of free speech when people were leaving Twitter. And then the founder of Gab started banning people who were posting opinions that he disagreed with. So,
right,
we'll see how Parler turns out.
That's all of these fucking websites. They all fucking do the shit.
And let's see, Ben Garrison also banned from Twitter. So now we'll never we won't know the comic to attach to this historic event. Unfortunately,
they'll still make the rounds. But one thing that I completely forgot is that in the midst of this attempted coup or insurrection or whatever the fuck you want to call it, is that people were taking notice of the fact that before Donald Trump's Twitter account got banned, that Mike Pence apparently unfollowed him. which is like
truly a Kingslayer.
like five people died apparently at this thing, and like it was a big sort of like
one of them was a cop.
Yeah, one of them was a cop. I guess someone said he got hit in the head with like a fire extinguisher or something. I mean, it's just like a big, crazy moment in history that like we all got to watch on, on the news and on live streams as it was happening, like crazy shit. And like in the middle of it, someone's like, Mike Pence unfollowed the president on Twitter.
Hey, I just want to come out here and state the obvious. Nobody died at the Naruto run around Trump Tower. One guy got arrested, 0 deaths. Just saying. Grant, as you pointed out, possibly. What was it, Grant? Well, how did you describe it again?
Well, I would like to now at this point in history recant. But I think I said it was one of the more intelligent protests that I've been to.
Mm-hmm.
This was back in 2017, everyone. So nobody take those words too. Yeah, nobody take the timing into consideration, please.
I mean, people were still cosplaying at this event too, so they're not all that different.
Yeah. They pointed out one of the guys that was cosplaying. They're calling him, the guy that was wearing like he had like furs on and like horns.
Yeah,
like standing in the middle
the
of
QAnon shaman or whatever.
Yeah, or people call him like the Coachella terrorist. Apparently, he's an improv guy.
Oh God. Yeah, I saw. I think I did see like he had a website somebody linked to. He's like, I'm a voice actor.
Yeah, he's also a singer. Yeah, his manager linked to his either his agent or his manager is the one who like broke the thing about his headshot and being like, oh yeah, this is an artist as well as a terrorist. So yeah.
Hey,
I mean, yeah, he might make $40 on Cameo from this, but was it worth it?
It's 2021. You can be both an artist and a terrorist.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. That's the future. That's the move. Like I was said, this is crazy times on Twitter and also in real life, I guess.
I mean, it really just goes to show, though, how intertwined both of those things are. And I know that we like try and stick to the fact that this is an internet-based podcast, but I mean, like, these people posted their way into a government insurrection, really. Like, so much of this stuff is steeped in internet culture. I mean, like, to the extent that people who had their comeuppance due to the internet, like, what's his name? Nick Fuentes and Bake Alaska, like, were at this fucking thing. And I think one of them or both of them got arrested or some shit like that. It just really goes to show you, like, yeah, there's no real, like, distinction between this stuff anymore. Maybe there used to be at some point in time, but, like, I don't really agree with that any longer. I mean, the thought cops have gone worldwide, really, in that respect.
No, I don't know if you two are on Black Twitter at all, but
I mean,
if by chance you're not, one of the great things about it is when something like this happens, Black Twitter's lit, and it's really a great place to be. So if anything, even though I guess it sounds like you guys are not a part of Black Twitter.
I mean, I'm sure I see it. I'm sure I see it come up.
I'm messing around.
My memes don't really take hold in there, but
my tweets are black. I forgot what the point was. Oh yeah, basically, like this being such an internet, it cannot be removed from the internet. Like it's a national story, but it is also an internet phenomenon.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I mean, for the past like several days, it's all anybody was talking about on Twitter, aside from the other topics, which of course we will get to. But yeah, let's sentence this event because, sadly, this is something that's probably going to have a page in a history book one day. The day that Trump got banned from Twitter.
Hey, and maybe we'll get a footnote.
Yeah, we'll see.
For mentioning it on this podcast.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
So yeah, punishment here. I guess so. Trump, he's on Parler. Parler may or may not be a thing. So this is a tricky one. You don't want to go too bold because who knows what's going to happen. You know, you could get swatted.
Well, there was, back when Donald Trump was first running for president back in 2015, there was a lot of people that were like, sort of like Republican light people that were sort of like, I'm not really a Republican, but I'm not a Democrat either. And the good thing about Trump is compared to people like Ted Cruz, he's pretty soft on some social issues. Like he's a lot more pro-LGBT than a lot of other people that are running on the Republican ticket and like things like that. Or he said during one of the debates, he's like, oh, nobody's going to be dying in the street when I'm president, or, whatever he said. Maybe those sentiments get him banned from Parler,
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
So,
in his defense, though, how many people really died on the street as opposed to dying in hospital beds? So, think before you speak. All right.
Yeah, he's like, there's an asterisk there. There's a technicality.
Yeah.
Although, actually, in this whole sort of insurrection coup attempt thing, I will say we do have to admit that some of the deaths are just funny. Of that, like it's the guy who tased himself in the balls and died. I think that's a legitimately funny death.
Jesus,
I must have missed that one.
Yeah, a guy legitimately tased himself in the balls, and the resulting shock to his body caused him to die. That's one of the 5 deaths.
So is that what they meant by medical reasons?
Yeah. Medical reasons. That was one of the medical reasons.
My God, I hate to. You know how there's certain things that everybody brings up anytime anything happens, and the movie Idiocracy is always one of them. Like that's so much of this shit is straight from Idiocracy. Like people kept posting the Terry Crews as the president, and putting him side by side against the Coachella terrorist guy or whatever he's called. This is just like that TV show in Idiocracy. Ow, my balls. Like it's just take a fucking page from that movie. Like so much of it is fucking reflective in that silly movie.
The other wildly ironic death, again, a medical causes death, was a woman who was carrying a "Don't Tread on Me" sign all throughout the march and the coup. Was tread on to death. She was trampled to death. That's the actual truth of what happened.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which, I mean, it's maybe less funny than the tasering your balls, but still kind of funny.
I mean, from a ironic,
from like that Alanis
world
Morissette song.
View of,
Didn't realize that Mike Judge was writing and directing 2021. Speaking of which, I wonder, should King of the Hill come back? I feel like we need we need Hank to lay down the law.
I feel like this discussion gets brought up like every... probably like several times a year now about whether we should bring King of the Hill back.
And there's a reason for that. It's like it could be either very good or very bad. I mean, on one hand, it could be horribly cringy and embarrassing. And on the other hand, America needs Hank.
It may not go far enough now at this point.
True.
What can
too little, too late,
Yeah.
Speaking of far enough, you brought up Bean Dad. Let's cover Bean Dad. I guess we have
Thank
to.
you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I forced you into this.
No. It's on the dock here, and we can't not talk about it. Like we were saying,
right?
So this guy, I've never heard of before. I don't think most people have heard of before.
Yeah.
He's a
he was a
blue
mystery to me.
Yeah, on Twitter, John Roderick. He posted this Twitter thread. It was it looks like it's 100 fucking tweets long about his daughter asking to open up a can of beans. And this is like one of the most like non-story stories I feel like we've had on Thought Cops that got to this level of infamy, because the whole thing is just this like pointless rambling where he's like talking about how he's trying to teach his daughter some semblance of independence, I guess.
Right.
Like, it's like, can you open a can of beans for me? Can I? Yes. Will I? It goes back and forth for, again, in like 100 tweets. And pretty much up until the insurrection, this is all people could talk about.
Exactly. Yeah. It was the last big story before like the world started crumbling apart, like for good this time.
Okay, apparently Sleep Science says he's heard of him. He's collaborated with other musicians that he likes.
He's a musician?
Yeah, I do know that, and I saw this after the fact, that I guess he He did the theme song for, I think,
my brother and me.
Yeah. And then they had to put a statement out saying, we didn't know he was a bean dad. We're sorry.
Also, Ken Jennings got in trouble for defending him because he hosts a podcast with that guy. And Ken Jennings, who's in the running to be, he's sort of the heir apparent to Alex Trebek. It's being rumored that he put his job in jeopardy by defending Bean Dad. Because Bean Dad, in addition to having a problematic relationship with teaching his daughter, also has a bunch of anti-Semitic tweets. In his
oh, yeah, I did see that. Yeah, people were pulling up a lot of his older tweets from, a decade plus back, which again that's typically the
the MO.
That's the move. You're going to see that.
I also God.
And then I guess Ken Jennings also had some problematic tweets about he had some tweet about a woman in a wheelchair who's just it sucks trying to date a lady in a wheelchair because some shitty punchline. I don't even remember anymore, but he had to apologize for that too.
I remember when Ken Jennings initially got heat for those tweets. I was there on my phone looking at it and I saw it and I remember it happening, but there's so many aspects to going through someone's previous tweets and making a mockery out of them. And it's I get it to a certain point, but what's his name? John Roderick is 52 now. So he was 42, spewing off anti-Semitic shit. What's your excuse? You're still an adult man. I don't know, whatever.
I mean, quite adult, not even
you're
maybe you could be when you're 19, you're an adult, but you're still pretty dumb.
Right.
But yeah, 42, you're so far past excuses at that point.
Yeah.
You got a lot of growing to do at 42, You're still learning the world, what it's like to be a grown up.
Still fresh.
How to open a can of beans.
And I didn't really read through all of these because I'm not going to, but it comes off very much so it's within humble brag territory of I'm such a good father. Like you said, Kevin, he's trying to teach his daughter some level of independence, but it just comes off as just very it's not the biggest story. And I don't think that this guy's an abusive father. Maybe he is. I don't think that this story necessarily says that. There's people who sort of read into some of this stuff and they're oh, well, he's teaching the value system of you're only worthy of, my love and affection if you can produce technical what people look into this shit and it's whatever, he could or he couldn't be, but at the end of the day it's just man, he tweeted a 40 tweet diatribe of this stupid story that just so he can be look at how great of a father I am, and everyone was this is insane, you're an insane person.
Yeah, if anything, it may be that he's less malicious and just weird and dumb, just a dumb weirdo, and worthy of getting dunked on, certainly. And yeah, I don't really have any type of strong feelings about Bean Dad.
And you shouldn't.
Really? Yeah, you shouldn't.
He did put out an apology, though, on his website, johnroderick.com/an apology. This is a little, actually, I respect for him for doing this instead of just posting the screenshot of the iPhone's note or the iPhone Notes app on Twitter.
Right.
He actually has a personal website it's a kind of a nice looking website too, and he's got a whole apology page on here. Makes you take it a little more seriously, I guess. A little bit of frill never hurt anybody. So yeah, he went over the. He said, I woke up yesterday to find out that I had become #BeanDad. He apologizes for some of the comments he made from 10 years ago, yada, yada, yada. You can pretty much assume how it goes in your head, and you're probably right.
It's maybe one of the better apologies I've, read.
Sure.
Which I think is good.
You've read a lot, correct?
We have. I mean, throughout the course of this show, yeah, we've read a lot. We've read...
How long's the show been going?
4 years.
Yeah, almost 4 years next month.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. And we're coming up on 2 hundo soon.
I know. I was hoping that I could delay this long enough to just be the 200th guest by default.
Well, call in or leave a voicemail or something.
Yeah, we'll have something special.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bean Dad.
But what was the point I was trying to make? Oh yeah, it's like it's not as bad as like a known serial rapist coming out as a gay man in defense of his serial rapes. You know, like it's not quite that bad of an apology. But he does explain like so with some of his racist tweets and stuff like that, he meant to be ironic, sarcastic, and like comedic or whatever. So it's like it's better than just, I actually think these things, which would be a poor defense of him saying that.
I will say he's real lucky this coup happened. It came right in the nick of time.
Yeah.
Completely erased him from the public consciousness almost.
Awfully suspicious. I have a punishment, though.
Go for it.
So this guy's a musician, correct?
Yeah.
And he is the Bean Dad, correct?
Also, yes.
Beans, the magical fruit. The more you eat, the more looks like John Roderick's got a new instrument, folks. I'm talking about his asshole.
That's good.
Thank you.
You know, there's people. Have you all heard of manualists? Are you familiar with the musicianship of a manualist?
Couldn't even pretend to know what that means.
So I believe, if I'm thinking of it's when you squeeze your hands together and you make like farting noises with your hand, but there's people that can do it and like play discernible melodies with their hands. So like I think one of the more famous ones was there was a guy who played like all of Bohemian Rhapsody by doing I can't even do it. By doing that, he played all of Bohemian Rhapsody. So maybe he becomes a manualist, you know?
There's a word for everything, isn't there?
You've really introduced me to a lot that I had never heard of before, Grant.
I know too much shit. I wish I knew so much less than what
I do need to meet you now in person, just so I can like just sit at the table of knowledge of Grant Mooney.
I guess so.
When this is all over, Grant will tell you all about how to make fart noises and all this other kind of interesting
and Liam
stuff.
Neeson peeing, and it doesn't stop. That's incredible with Grant. You know,
my stupidity knows no bounds.
Like I think like I'm in my mid 30s. I think I've learned it all, but then in walks Grant.
There's always more, I guess.
There's always a valuable perspective. You know, I've been too quick to write off people, but oh man, thank you.
Anytime.
Speaking of further information that nobody else needs, Twitch removed the Twitch removed the pogchamp emote this week. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the poggers guy, the pog face.
I'm definitely not.
That's probably for the best, but
it's like sort of come up on the show before, but I never really did a deep dive into the history of it.
Yeah, I mean, like
I don't want to know.
I mean, we've had a couple word of the weeks, like Poggers has been on PogChamp. I guess that you can't do that or say that now. This guy, let's see, the face behind the popular Poggers emote used social media to spur civil unrest. So let me see here. It's this guy named Ryan Gutex Gutierrez. He's the guy who is in the picture making the face that is a popular meme. Let me see here. Yeah, he basically, I guess he was on Twitter and was, let me see here. He said, will there be civil unrest for, basically he was in somewhat a support of the storming of the Capitol. So Twitch banned the Poggers emote, which was, I think, one of the most, or at least one of the more famous emotes on Twitch. I say Twitch or whatever on
you
Twitch.
Said Twitch, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I know from us using Twitch that like Twitch emotes are sort of weird because they have a bunch that you can use, and like if you want to upload your own, you have to have so many subscribers and stuff like that. So the only Twitch emote we have currently is the one where it's me and my arms are crossed.
We need more. We need the gold
we need
face.
More subscribers.
We need all 7 Yosef emojis in there.
So his is one of the default ones. I guess it's like colon Gutex colon again, and it's
or I think it might be just Pog or Poggers.
Yeah, something like that. So he is one of the few default ones that are on that website. So that is noteworthy if you use Twitch a lot, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and as we said before, it's sort of like a message of good luck or good game. It's in gamer speak. What were you going to say, Tristan?
Just to support, this podcast on Twitch, I will happily follow you just to get you closer to your remote goal.
Thank you.
That'd be perfect. That'd be amazing.
That'd be great.
It's the least I could do. The literal least.
I mean, yeah, we'll take it. The Pog, RIP Pog, I guess. Once again, I think a passing fad from the 80s, and then now a potential hate symbol. This is the new. Is it potentially? What is it going to turn into the new Pepe the Frog?
I mean,
he does need a rebranding.
Well, yeah, very well could go that way. I mean, we've seen that with a number of things, over the past 4 years. Like, so much of that shit just, this is ours now. We're doing
the OK symbol.
Yeah,
just. Any sort of innocuous
How could
thing.
I forget about that? Yeah.
Right.
Twitch actually said that they are planning to work with the community to design something to replace the former pogchamp emote with something equally as hype.
Jesus Christ. God, I do hate.
This sucks.
I hate all of it. I don't remember who mentioned it, but maybe this is a good punishment, is that we just replace this guy with the what do you call it? The Rage Comics guy that's making the same exact face. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? We just replace him with that.
All right, I'm in.
I mean, that's vague enough of a
embrace tradition.
Exactly. Reject modernity.
Let's see what else to get to here.
I guess I've got at least one more story, and I think it's worth telling. And it has to do with cancel culture. And like normal, it's rearing its ugly head once more. Like we were talking about, you dig up old tweets from people. Some people just they've had it a long time coming. One of those people that's had it a long time coming is Caillou. Caillou has been canceled by PBS, and the world is apparently rejoicing, which is just more cancel culture. It's unbelievable.
I got to say, I've never really seen too much of Caillou.
Same.
Yeah, I'm not 3
I
or
was
4
more of an
years
Arthur
old.
Wishbone kid.
Yeah, same. But I know I'd watch those shows, and then Caillou would come on right after it, and I think I'd watch it like out of curiosity, and it was like horrible. It was terrible.
Yeah, I never had heard of Caillou until I was like an adult.
Right.
And then the only reason I knew of it was because I have a couple friends who have kids where they're like, yeah, he's a bad influence.
I mean, supposedly he said the N-word numerous occasions. So
that was on Twitter 10 years ago. No, I'm just kidding.
God. So there's like a video of
so
Caillou,
good riddance
like,
is what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's a video of like Caillou. I think this is one of the more famous ones. It's on par with Arthur like pushing DW down, but like there's a video of Caillou like pinching his infant sister until she
like he
cries.
kisses her first. He kisses her first and then pinches her.
Right. It's weird. It's sadistic.
Yeah. It's kind of like Lena Dunham.
God. Let's just leave that there and not finish off the metaphor.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
But actually, I think all this talk about Wishbone, I think an appropriate punishment here is Caillou's canceled. Bring back Wishbone. Fill the time slot.
I would happily accept that any day of the week. There's so many more books that have been made.
It was a Wishbone one back in like time, or did he go into like books? I don't remember.
He explored books. He was the main character of like it'd be like The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Wishbone is a Jack Russell Terrier that plays Tom Sawyer, and humans interact with him as if he can speak. It's a very fun time.
Yeah, there was a lot of shows like that. I remember like The Adventures of Gumby was kind of similar, where him and his friends would enter books and stuff, and like again they would hang out with Tom Sawyer and everything.
Also, Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of like TV shows for children back in like the late 80s and early 90s that were involved about like literature and stuff. And now it's like kids could care less. You know, now they just want to see a kid pinch a baby till she turns blue.
Well, not anymore. They don't even want to see that. I guess. Well, what new shit are we gonna have from PBS?
I mean, if it's worse than Caillou, I would rather not know.
By the way, in the tweet breaking the news from PBS, they said, this may seem like sad news to say goodbye to an old friend, but every time you say goodbye to an old friend, that means you're making way for someone new. And like they did that to like break it to kids better, I suppose.
Uh-huh.
I am interested. I'm interested to see like what the suits at PBS have planned for this upcoming season.
Yeah, we'll be on the edge of our seats. I know I can speak for myself.
Yeah, so you can just invite me back just to whenever, like let's say like next September when the new fall
PBS
season
watch.
begins.
Yeah, anytime. The PBS correspondent.
Oh, thank you. That'd be my honor. I have a role now.
Grant, was there anything else you want to get to on the doc here? Or no?
I think we're good unless there's something that sticks out to you. Where
There's one thing.
Yeah, go for it.
There's one thing I want to talk about just because it's a tradition with me and several friends. So every year on Christmas Eve, me and two comedian friends of mine, Adrian Stout and Mitch Kamayapeely, not Mitch, sorry, actually different Mitch. Mitch Grobman.
Dang it.
I apologize. Mitch Grobman and Adrian Stout, we would meet up at Mitch's place and we would watch the new Kevin Spacey Christmas Eve video.
Yes.
Right.
So yeah, the first 2 years we met in person because there wasn't COVID wasn't really a thing happening in the United States at the time, and then this year we had to meet over Facebook, like Facebook video chat, and again rewatch the Kevin Spacey Christmas Eve video. I know this is definitely a little bit it's old news now, it's certainly in terms of like the lifespan of the internet stories. But it was just I enjoy these tapes every year because Kevin Spacey's the only person who's tried to act his way out of the Me Too movement. Like, just takes an incredible sense of self to do that. And then this year he decided instead of acting, like usually Kevin Spacey pretends to be his character from House of Cards, Frank Underwood. He puts on this weird Southern accent and basically he admits to the charges and says, I'm not going to get in trouble for them anyway. This year, he broke character and he made a suicide prevention sort of like PSA, gave out the number for the National Suicide Hotline, and wanted us to know that he cared.
Yes, and actually that was the story. I was like you said, it's been a little while, but it was between recordings, and it was one of those things where it was like, we have to talk about this on Thought Cops. So without further ado, let's watch it. There he is.
That's right. What would Christmas Eve be without a message from me?
It kind of sounds like he's still doing Frank Underwood in the beginning.
That's right.
Yes, he is.
What would Christmas Eve be?
Yeah, what would Christmas Eve be without Frank Underwood? Who knows?
Tradition.
Like this past year,
He's just in a public park, it looks like.
Listen, a lot of people
to
have
be
reached
in a
out to
park?
me this past year
Is it
and have shared their own struggles. And my ability to be there for them has really only been possible because of my own difficulties. And while it's been a privilege to offer support, I have to say, frankly, it's also been beyond my abilities.
Any ideas
And
on
it's
where
been
he is? I see like a little palm trees.
Because
Maybe are those palm trees or they seem to have palm sort
heartbreaking
of
that
Yeah.
so many
I'm thinking somewhere
have
in
talked
LA.
about things having gotten so
Yeah.
bad for them that they've contemplated taking their own lives. And that's enough for me to want to take an entirely different approach this year, to acknowledge their pain and say to anyone out there who's struggling,
Also, did he have the
contemplating
phone
that
on a
idea,
tripod?
please.
Just like because it was staying safe.
Yeah,
for
you're
safety
right.
network, that's all.
Yeah.
He probably grabbed the tripod and was walking.
if you're
with the
standing in a
tripod.
place that you
Yeah.
can no longer remain
Maybe a
standing,
gimbal.
if you're
Yeah.
suffering, if you need
Can you
help,
imagine if you saw this at a park?
if you feel guilt or shame, if you're struggling with your identity, if your back's up against the wall, or if you
It is
feel
weird that there is no one there,
path
though. In
for
my
you.
mind,
Yeah.
I kind of wonder
Whatever your
if he treated it like a film set and he blocked
Yeah.
off.
I promise you,
He got like a film permit for this. Yeah. Oh, he's filming a viral
at this
video.
time during this holiday,
Actually, they just said Kevin
and
Spacey's going to
beyond,
be here, and they're like, yeah, no thanks.
even if you don't feel it, there are people out there who understand and who can help, because you are not alone.
Look at his lips, dude. They're chapped as
And
fuck.
so I just want
I
to wish
didn't even notice
everyone
that. Yeah, it's a good point.
I didn't.
A Merry
I mean,
Christmas,
it's one of those
a
things you
great
notice on a second
2021.
view through.
and say to all those out there who might be suffering, it gets better. It does get better.
My jaw dropped the first time
Happy
I saw
holidays.
this.
Didn't like 2 of his accusers commit suicide?
It gets
I know
better.
for sure one. I didn't
One
know.
definitely did, yeah. It comes off as a little tone deaf.
Just a little.
A little.
Really? I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, and I don't know. So many of these fucking celebrities too, and I mean him especially, but so many of these people when they make these types of announcements and stuff like that, it's like, sure, you drop the voice, but we know that you're acting. Like all of these actors are such like shallow husks of what used to be humans that like it's like you look at the thought process that goes on behind his just like his dead eyes, and you're like, you're acting. You're still acting. You're still not even a person. You know what I
gotta
mean?
say, I still like this more than the Imagine video. Like of the 2020
Yeah.
celebrity misfire videos, I got this still not as bad.
It comes off as a little more genuine, but I also think he knows that it does, and that it bothers me.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, yeah, Kevin Spacey definitely knows what he's doing in terms of like putting on appearances.
Right.
I mean, he was successful for like 20 some odd years, hiding, not necessarily like being gay from the general public, more so hiding the craven sexual abuse.
Right.
Although I will say, I like, you guys probably don't know this about me, but I have a degree in drama, and like I know a lot of actors who are like working, and some who, and many who are not. But I've known about Kevin Spacey being a creep, gosh, for at least like the better part of a decade. And it was a weird thing of just like knowing that he was like, I guess there was a thing in I don't know how you guys feel about rumor and conjecture on this podcast.
Go for it.
But he used to be he used to be in charge of the Globe Theater. He was like the like I forget the exact position that he had. Globe Theater was where like Shakespeare, blew up. So he was as an American, he managed to be like sort of the artistic director of the Globe Theater, and it was sort of a known thing like 10 years ago that if you were an actor in London who wanted to get through there, if you're a male actor, you kind of had to go through Kevin Spacey, and by go through Kevin Spacey, that like be
Go
like have sex with him in some form or fashion in order, and if you didn't, then he'd blackball you in the London stage, which is a weird random thing to just sort of like have in your head.
God.
About like this guy that everybody loved for most of his career.
I was at the Globe Theater like 2 years ago. I mean, that's so crazy. It's such an iconic place to know that like that level of shit. I mean, I assume that anywhere there's a power structure, there's somebody that's willing to abuse it, but it's just like it's crazy to like step foot in that place and then to think back to it and being like, oh yeah, a lot of these people that are on this stage like entertaining you like have been completely at some point might have been completely for this guy. Like that's insane.
All I heard was he flexing about going to England
2 years ago.
Humble brag.
Before all this stuff happened, before they banned Americans from traveling around.
Congratulations, you didn't get molested, dude. Very cool.
Hope you met my aspirational wife, Emma Watson.
I didn't know. I met one of the guys that was on Game of Thrones, though.
What character or actor name? Whatever you want to go with.
Gendry, whatever the guy's name. Joe Dempsey, a.k.a. Gendry, the bastard son guy. Yeah. He was pretty cool.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
When's he calling in?
That. Not soon enough. I should have dropped the podcast name.
There was a rumor that the guy who played Hodor came into my job. But it turned out to be a different 7-foot man who was in town at the same time. That's the real.
Moving right along, though, to Thought Cop's key to the city, which is, of course, something nice, something cool, something a little positive for once in our lives. My Thought Cop's key to the city this week goes to Beanie Tuesday. This is it's at Beanie Tuesday on Twitter and Instagram. He's a cartoonist. He draws a lot of kind of interesting, like introspective comics. He has one on here. One of his more popular ones is the Guide to Indie Comics, where he just kind of like roasts a lot of indie comic tropes and everything like that. Which is pretty funny. He put up one today that I really liked, a comic about maturity, which is relatable in terms of just like how you want to present yourself to the world versus who you are versus like how you're supposed to be at some point of your life. And yeah, his artwork's really cool too. So check him out, Beanie Tuesday.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah, thank you for that, Al. Yeah, that's awesome.
Tristan, anything good you have for us this week?
Yeah. This starts with a little bit of a confession. Kevin knows this. Grant does not. Part of the reason it was hard to sort of get me sort of tied into this podcast was a little bit because of like figuring out work schedules. But then the other part of it was I had a COVID scare and I had to quarantine from everybody. So I figured that like a podcast just wasn't top of my mind. So I just sort of became not available for it. Turns out, luckily, I don't have COVID. I had a couple symptoms, but I'm just dying of nothing. But
lucky.
Yeah, exactly. But during that, I still had to quarantine from work for 2 weeks and from everybody I know for 2 weeks, which was great. Like if you're gonna, it's good, really good to not have COVID and not come into work. So that's my key to the city. Is I would love to do that again. I would love to just not have responsibility for 2 weeks of my life. And have no consequences.
Key to the city, COVID.
Yeah. It's
COVID
about
scare.
time.
COVID scare. That's a distinction.
With a positive result.
Yes.
I mean, there is like...
Well, by that I mean a negative.
Yeah.
Right. There is like an aspect to when the lockdown first happened and everyone at my work got unemployed for like 4 to 6 months or however long. There is part of me now that looks back at that time and like as horrific and depressing and like bewildering as it was, part of me is like, man, I wish I could go back to just like laying in bed all day, not doing anything for months on end, It's like a sickness in my mind that's just like, go. That was great, wasn't it? How depressingly awful that was. You want to go back to that.
Yeah, that really says something about the working conditions in America. If we, in some ways, can be wistful for a pandemic.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, though, key to the city, baby, is going to, I regret nothing.
You got out of it, though, and you're here with us now.
Yes, and this is going to look real bad if I do end up catching COVID and dying in the future. And if you're listening to this podcast because I am dead, I don't know. I tried my best.
Same for me.
Yeah, I tried.
Grant, speaking of trying, key to the city.
I've been racking my brain, and maybe it's just like, I feel like just with all this shit that's been happening in the news and stuff like that, it's like I don't even know what's good anymore because I've been like fucking glued to the television. I don't know. I can't think of a good thing that I've seen within like the past 2 weeks. It's hard for me to think of anything. I'm trying.
I feel like you might have something.
My key to the city this week goes to the Discord news crew.
There we go.
They do such a good job with that Discord news.
They do.
That's it. That's what it goes to. I think
awesome.
They really do, though. I mean, they get all those stories of just things that we've done in the Discord, and they make it comedic.
Yeah, I was laughing so hard at like the last one where they were just like, this is like they were just like a sign off for the year. Like it's become a show within the show.
Exactly.
You know what? Props.
So key to the city. Congrats, guys. You've earned it.
This week's Thought Cop's word of the week is, what was it called again, Grant? That farting thing?
Manualism or a manualist.
And that's just making fart noises?
Yeah, but like doing it and like being able to change the pitch with your hands. Like, so you're like playing music, you're playing like melodies with just your hand making fart noises. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Manualism.
So it sounds like it's more like the act of just making sounds with your hands as instruments and then it just often happens to be fart sounds that are like changed in whatever way. That's incredible.
Like through the tightness and the vacuum suction of the air pocket that you create.
I wonder what instrument injuries come with that. Yeah, because every instrument sort of like has like an effect on your body in some way. I wonder what happens in this instance.
Probably like carpal tunnel or something.
Sweaty palms.
You start like shitting out of your hands.
Like I'd like to see the Whiplash style exploration of that.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be what's his face?
Miles Teller or
just getting yelled at by that guy. Not enough farting. Not good enough.
Louder.
Before we move on to the final segment of the show, which is our listener voicemails, plug time. Tristan, plug it all you got, man. All of these social media, anything else you want people to find you at?
Oh, sure. There's two things. I would say, like, if you want to find me, I'm Where's Trist on pretty much everything. That's Where's, Wheres, and then Trist, the first 5 letters of Tristan. That's true on TikTok, Twitter, the Instagram, they're all the same. And then there's another thing I do with every podcast. I try to promote. There was a website called Your Dick Looks Great in Those Heels.com. It used to be a Tumblr page, and then Tumblr sort of made it impossible to put nudity on Tumblr. Again, Your Dick Looks Great. Let me explain what that is. Your Dick Looks Great in Those Heels is the website where men will put their penises into a women's shoe, a heel, ostensibly, and see what it looks like. And I think this is the greatest thing the internet ever created. Sometimes looks like a foot, sometimes looks like a dick in a shoe. So if you just Google Your Dick Looks Great in Those Heels, you'll like be taken to like a Reddit thread and some other stuff. But you'll be able to see dicks and shoes, and I think that's a really cool thing. And I hope it comes back in some way. So every time I do any podcast, I try to promote that website. Legitimately, this is the running thing I do across all podcasts.
Yeah, I think Zwick is probably typing that in as we speak, as he edits the episode. So yeah, well, it's sponsored by Yes. Cool. Without further ado, let's get to the listener voicemails. If you want to give us a call, leave your own voicemail. It's 312-788-7361. Or you can always send us an audio file to thoughtcopspodcast@gmail.com. Hit it.
New music. It's exciting.
Sounds sexy. Sounds like
This is the Discord news for this week, bringing you all the news worth reporting from the virtual streets of Neo Chicago.
Zwick used a podcast voice channel to play YouTube videos while falling asleep.
They workshopped
this led to shenanigans such as Slime the Garbage Man recording Zwick snoring, as well as Ionetrunner playing sissy hypno tracks to him.
This week we all mourn Dilbert Text, who has not posted since Christmas and is presumed dead. Someone tell Asterios to bury his kid.
In an unexpected turn of events, Dilbert Text showed up on January 5th and said that he's been awake for 3 straight days and won't be online for the next 6 months. Even though he isn't actually dead, he most certainly is dead inside. Rest in peace, Dilbert Text. He will be missed greatly.
In #RealMusic, an article was posted in which Little Peep was called this generation's Nirvana. People immediately started shitting on both musicians before Sleep Science made the valiant effort to defend Nirvana and Kurt Cobain to Nico and Grant, who banded together in shitting on him. Sleep Science just can't stop taking L's.
Teamwork.
In #Outrage, Grant talked about how stupid his gym's manager is. In his quest to piss off his manager as much as possible, he also succeeded in making him look stupid in front of all of his coworkers.
Yes, I did.
Go off,
Bravo,
King.
Grant.
Thank you.
In what can only be described as faulty NPC programming, this week in #GamerAmericans, Slime the Garbage Man posted a link to a Conkers plush doll twice, about 2 weeks apart, with identical comments following the link. Nico also posted the same reply both times, which really just goes to show why being baked 24/7 could make you R-worded.
Nothing worth reporting on or of any importance happened in #RealPolitics this week.
Our remote reporter, New Year, New Law Bear, continues to report on Grant's TikTok. Apparently Grant is quite the hunk and has become a sex god over there. We will continue to belittle him and his calves here on Discord, though.
Thank you.
Grant looks pretty tight on TikTok. I'll admit that.
Oh yeah, and Kevin showed up a couple of times. But, he just shows up and pops in, says hi, then fucks off again. So nothing really worth reporting on.
This week's Discord news has been presented to you by IO Netrunner 2077 and Young Guacamole.
Thank you, guys. Key to the city those guys get.
Yeah, great work.
Yeah, I don't know who these people are in Mill, but yeah, they really worked on that.
Yeah, like you've come a long way. I love the new stinger, very catchy.
It's sort of like when we started Thought Cops, we didn't have a theme song, and then 10 episodes in, we had a theme song. They've gone through 2 theme songs so far.
True.
Hey, Thought Cops, Caillou here.
Hey.
I'm sure someone's making a Canadian joke right now, so I'll just get to the point. My key to the city for this holiday season goes to Serial Law Obeyer in our Discord because he sold me his NES Classic for retail price so I could give it to my dad for Christmas.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know about that.
I did not know that they stopped making them in 2019 and they're like $150 to $200 on eBay, and I didn't want to pay that. So, yeah, thanks, Serial Law Obeyer.
What's how much you paid?
He really liked it. He's very bad at the games.
I think it's normally 50 or something.
But I mean, he's a boomer who doesn't regularly play video games. So, yeah. I was thinking before I recorded this, it's been about a year since I joined the Discord, and I remember wanting to go to that live show, which that's been a year since then too.
Crazy.
Come to the next one.
God, I sure hope we have live events happening this year soon, or else I'm gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, I hope you guys had tolerable holiday seasons, Christmases, whatever. And I'll see you around on the Discord.
I mean, yeah, Wonder Woman came out, so it's pretty chill.
Thanks for the voicemail.
Yeah, thank you, Caillou. I'm glad you finally called in. She was always like, I'm going to leave one this week. I'm going to leave one this week. And then finally she left one. Took her a year.
Awesome. I'm happy to see the hard work of you sort of getting your fans to contribute is really paying off.
And I want to say, I personally want to take full credit, Grant and I, for our podcast. We made Caillou's Christmas miracle happen. Obviously, if it wasn't for this podcast, these two people wouldn't have been able to come together and sell each other video games. So thank you to us. Pat myself on the back for that one. Yes, I actually did that.
Yeah, I heard something, so that adds up.
That was me congratulating myself. Let's hit the next one here.
Hey, Thought Cops. Zwick told me to call in and rant about how much I fucking hate every single Discord server that decided to post the goddamn Majora's Mask Dawn of the Final Day 24 hours remain. Like, you're so fucking original.
Nobody
Shut
did that
the
in our
fuck
Discord.
up. You stole that shit from Twitter. You fucking bitch. Love you.
It's like I recognize his voice.
Yeah, I don't know who that was. I mean, she said Zwick told her to call in. And at first I was like, is this Zwick's mom again? But I'm like, I don't think she would call her son by his last name.
I believe that was the voice of another artist that's within the realm of podcast art. I believe that was Baloney Pony.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Thank you for the voicemail, Baloney Pony. I want to agree with you. I'm actually surprised it's not something that's come up on the show before. The Dawn of the Final Day, or like 3 days remaining, like, from she said, Zelda Majora's Mask. It's something you see posted in reference to like every event ever online, and every time it does massive numbers on Twitter. Like no one's ever seen it before.
I'm a fan of it, though. I mean, I know it's whatever, but there's a certain level to me that's like, yeah, Christmas happens every year, and every time there's some event, someone's going to post the Majora's Mask 24 hours remain thing. It's a sense of normalcy that I feel like I can reliably, find comfort in,
Okay, so that like you find comfort in all the things we tend to complain about on here?
Yes.
Okay. I could see that. I mean, it brings us together every week.
Right. It makes sense in terms of like my like weird addiction to whatever it is, like pain, discomfort, misery, all that shit.
So I ordered some fucking something from Grubhub, and I'm seeing this bullshit called the Chicago tax or the Chicago fee. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, I saw that too recently.
Like, is it not enough that they are, they have like those traffic cams now that if you're going over 6 miles per hour, which you're gonna get a ticket? Really, you're trying to slice in even more money out of this? Man, I'm going to go to Lori Lightfoot's house myself and parody right on the lawn. That's bullshit.
That's the thing that happens at my job all the time. We get a lot of customers either complaining or asking for clarification about the Chicago tax. And Chicago has the highest taxes in the nation. It's like I can't say what job I work for just because that's not allowed.
Yeah, fair.
But if you ever buy a product on my job's website, you are initially charged Illinois tax plus the price of the item, and then like a couple of days later, you're separately charged the Chicago tax because you just live in Chicago. And with Chicago taxes being 10.25% and the highest in the nation, that can be a real body blow to to whatever you want to get to your finances.
Is that a new tax because I haven't heard about this until exactly right now?
It's definitely not new in my job. That's been going on the entire time I've worked there. Yeah, I mean, this did sound a little bit more nuanced. I don't know what's going on in Nico's life. Because it was
any of us.
But I that's the little bit of clarity that I can sort of lend to that, is that it happens all the time, and I got to warn my friends whenever they buy stuff about it. Chicago's got to get our cut, baby. And by our, I mean the politicians and none of us at all.
Right.
Exactly.
Hey, Thought Cops. It's a Shogun of Sorrow.
Hey.
What's good with Jews?
What's good with Jews?
All right. My 2 minutes of hate goes out to the people that insist on petting your dogs while you're out at the park during a pandemic. I think that point speaks for itself. Thank you.
That's succinct.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I appreciate the succinctness.
Yeah.
Brevity is the soul of wit.
It was pretty... It like you said, it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Nothing else needed to be added to that. It was the perfect voicemail in that regard.
On that high note, Tristan, thanks for coming into the show, man. I'm glad we could finally get it worked out.
Same here. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm not the best podcast guest in history, but I do appreciate you all having me.
Nah, you're great.
Thank you.
And for anybody who wants to leave a voicemail of your own, again, give us a call, 312-788-7361, or send us an audio file to thoughtcopspodcast@gmail.com. If you feel like supporting the show, throw us a few bucks over at patreon.com/thoughtcops. You can come hang out in the live chat. You can get access to all of our bonus content and all kinds of good stuff. So head on over there, support the show. We'll see you next time.
See you, Space Cop.